words more and more, getting into specifics of what can you do with the cloud. We at Google, we're really bullish about India as a cloud market. We believe India will be a cloud-first market. Now, what does that essentially mean? India has about 8 million SMB organizations in India, and when we say SMB, we're talking about anything from between 1 to 500 member businesses. And if you actually look at statistics even deeper, we have about 1.7 million people who have businesses who have less than one PC in their organization. Now, what do I mean when I say that India is going to be a cloud-first market? So if you look at typically the more mature IT markets in the world, they've gone through the whole learning cycle, right? When they went through legacy systems, they went through on-premise systems, and now they're moving towards the cloud. Contrary to that, India is in a very unique position where we will be cloud-first. So Indian businesses are likely to eschew and throw away all legacy technology and adopt cloud first. So that's really why India becomes very, very interesting for Google. Indian businesses are already finding Google Apps, cloud computing extremely interesting. And we've got some marquee names as customers in India. So first of all, do you know that there are Google Apps for Business has 5 million customers across the globe? We probably don't. If you actually look at the rate of adoption, we have 5,000 businesses signing for Google Apps for Business every single day. That's phenomenal, right? And you just look at some of the names we have in India, right from very old traditional brick and mortar organizations like a Voltas, like a Punj Lloyd, like a Usha International, to the more new age e-commerce industries like a Policy Bazaar and Yebi.com and Baby Oil. So you've got the whole spectrum of customers in India, right from traditional organizations, customers in financial services industries, to manufacturing, to engineering. We've got a lot of customers in India, more than 6,000 customers of India, right from SMB organizations to enterprises. The IT as we see it in our organizations was good. I mean, we had good tools. We had the office productivity tools. We had the ERPs and the rest of it. It's interesting. 10 years ago when I started my career, which really seems like a long time ago by now, when I started my career, I was in a position where I thought I had more IT when I went to work than I had IT at home. Today things are different, right? We have more IT when we're not at work. When we're out of work, we have a personal computer, we have an iPad, we have a mobile phone, and we're using all this great technology, right? We're using Facebook, and we're using Twitter, and we're using Picasa, and we're using Google Plus and the rest of it. And when we're coming to work, there's actually less technology. I mean, think about it. There's more technology in your consumer life than there is technology in your workplace. And that's precisely what Google is trying to change. We're trying to bring all these consumer applications, all this consumer-grade technology into your workplace. So fundamental is this, that the technology as we see it in our workplace is quite constrictive. And why is it constrictive in the sense that how many of us actually work in a physical office? Our offices are not in a brick and mortar building, right? How many of us are tied to our desks? Hardly. And we are most of us are Mumbaikars, right? How much time do we spend on the road? And especially in the rains, like 2 hours a day from one point to another at least. Which means we need to carry our offices, we need to carry our workplace into the bus that we travel and the train that we travel. How many of us wake up in the morning and the first thing we do is check our email? I'm guilty of that. It's a bad habit. I know, personal life suffers because of it, but it's a habit, right? I wake up and I just check my email, what happened through the night in the US and in Singapore and the rest of it. We all do that, which means technology has to keep pace with what we are doing, the way we operate. We are not tied to a 9-to-5 job. We are not tied to a desk or an office, and technology needs to evolve with that. And that's essentially what you're going to hear me talk about Google Apps and how it's going to fit into this paradigm. The entire design principle of Google Apps is essentially around 4 principles. Any team, any place, anytime, anywhere. Any device, I'm sorry. Essentially, the next 30 minutes that you're going to hear me talk is all around these 4 concepts. So I present to you Google Apps. Actually, this slide, to my opinion, doesn't really do justice to Google Apps, because Google Apps is actually, Google Apps for Business as we call it, is actually a suite of 60 applications. And these 60 applications span across email. You know, the Gmail that you use and you love in your personal life. You use for your business, obviously, with your own private domain. And you have all kinds of enterprise-related features and, you know, security and support and the rest of it bundled onto it. You have calendar to be able to manage, you know, teams and, you know, organize your day schedule, you know, stuff like that. You have Google Docs, which allows you to do online editing, real-time collaboration. You have Google Sites, which allows you to actually create internet sites, intranet sites, project sites, and share across information literally in one single page. And of course, you know, besides that, there are a list of 60 applications which, you know, we don't have the time to go into each and every one of them. So we're really going to pick up a few and talk to you about those which will be relevant for you to handle your business on a day-to-day, in your day-to-day life. And of course, the Chrome browser, which is going to, you know, the fastest growing browser in the world. We have something like 320 million Chrome browsers, in the fastest growing browser in the world. So let's talk about the first concept, working in teams, right? We work together. Working in the past was all about, you know, the fact that you don't have access to a particular, okay, so let's take a situation. If you wanted to work together in a team, 5 of us wanted to work on, let's say, a presentation or an Excel sheet, how would you do it? 3 ways I can think of. One is that you have one computer and 3 of us huddle around it, 5 of us huddle around it, and then we, you know, change. So we are like huddling around it and doing it. The other way you could do it is you carve out sections and say, okay, Mr. A, you work on this section, Mr. B, you work on this section, Mr. C, you work on this section. That's the second way I can think of. And the third way is that you work sequentially. You know, I work on a document and then I email it to 5 others and then they work on it and then they email it back and, you know, you go back and forth and you have version 1, 2, 3 and, you know, version final.x.x, whatever. We've done that, right? We've all gone through that in our lives. But there's just a better way of working. First of all, you're not necessarily going to be in the same geography to be able to huddle around a particular computer together. You're probably not even working in the same time zone. You know, somebody's working in, you know, US time zone, you're probably not even working in the same language. You know, more and more of us are working with teams. When I say teams, it doesn't necessarily mean your own organization. It could be a supplier, it could be a customer, it could be a middleman. So your team could be anybody, right? So you're probably working in different time zones, in different locations, in different languages. And Google allows you to do exactly that with one version of truth of a Word or a spreadsheet or a, you know, PowerPoint presentation, whatever you want. One document which is on the cloud, single version of truth, and multiple people can actually collaborate on it. So if you actually see this, you know, visual that you're seeing on your, you know, on your screen right now, so you can see multiple people, Adam, Bab, Barbara, she, Ivan, working on the same document, and all of them, you know, you can see 5 other viewers there. So we'll show this to you in real time as well, but just to let you, give you a sense of what you can do. And not just that, you know, you're worried about what information you're actually sharing with people, you know, outside of your organization, inside of your organization. So you should be able to control. So when you share, you have the option of actually sharing the rights to view only. You have the ability to allow editing, to allow commenting. So you can actually restrict the amount that you want to share, what do you want to share. As an administrator, you can actually set up controls that you won't allow sharing outside your domain. So you can, you know, be as liberal or as constrictive as you want to, right? But with a person, so Google actually brings a person to the forefront. You can not just do text email, you can do audio, video, you know, chat, you can do translation, and not just that, if you see in this window, I'm writing an email to Barbara, I can start a video chat with her. At the side, I actually know what was my last, you know, what was my last interaction with Barbara, the top emails that she sent me, the documents that she shared with me, what was my last interaction with Barbara. So it brings people. It's not about an email ID anymore, it's people. What are we doing with each other? The next concept, it's about working anywhere with any device. Remember that whatever you plan for your IT today is probably something that you will use over the next 5 years, you know, a life of an IT, you know, investment that you make today. So you have to remember that whatever investment you do today, it has to be device agnostic, platform agnostic. You don't want to put restrictions in your organization where I will work with a, you know, BlackBerry but not an iPhone, or I will work with an Android but not an iPhone. You can't have a restriction. More and more organizations are moving to the bring your own device policy. As an IT person, you don't, or as a businessman, as a CEO, you don't want your IT man telling you, look, I'll support you if you use Android, but not if you use an iPhone. I have an iPad, and I have an Android phone, and I have a BlackBerry. How many of us have more than one phone? Anybody has more than one phone? I do. I have a BlackBerry and others. So the fact is that you use multiple devices, and your IT has got to be able to support all of it seamlessly. Not just do we allow for you to access your mail, your docs, and any information on any devices anywhere, you can actually edit it. So imagine yourself stuck in a traffic situation. You're coming to the Google, G-Day event this morning, and okay, my personal experience, I was on my way to the G-Day today, and I, as usual, was not prepared with my presentation. So I was sitting in my car on my, computer, and just working on my presentation. My laptop is sitting there. I'm using somebody else's machine and presenting it because it's all on the cloud, right? Now let's take a minute to talk about administrative controls. The beauty of Google and the way the whole application is really structured is sharing of administrative tasks is as easy as sharing a document, right? So as an IT administrator, you can actually share certain things to the, let's say, to your administrative department or your help desk. For example, reset password, create password. So without actually giving up controls at a domain level and tools level, you can actually share tasks which are more mundane in nature. So, there was a study done by, I think, Radicati, if I'm not wrong, which said that, Gartner, that said that 80% of IT teams' time is actually spent in lights-on activity. Lights on means all you're doing is keeping the systems up and running. Now, with tools like Google, you're actually able to free up IT teams' time to almost 80%. That's huge. This is another very interesting thing. So we've spoken about, multiple devices. We've spoken about, anywhere access and stuff like that. But this is also really quite scary, because now your information, your corporate information is available on multiple devices in multiple places and stuff like that. So you also want to make sure that as an administrator, you can control which devices have access, enforce certain policies. So let's say a laptop or let's say a mobile phone got stolen, or mobile phone broke or whatever. If broke is okay, but if it is stolen, or let's say the employee left the organization. And as an administrator, I want to be able to remote wipe everything that is corporate of the device. So you can actually do device policy management using Google, right? Okay, always being up to date. So what is the whole concept of cloud? The concept of cloud is essentially that you should be able to, there should be nothing called updates, there should be nothing called patches, there should be nothing called upgrade. So typically, how many of us have used Microsoft Exchange? Okay? Anybody uses? So what's a typical time frame for an upgrade from, let's say, 2007 to 2010? At the best 6 months, at the lowest, it's a 6 months upgrade cycle. As opposed to that, in Google, you press the refresh button and you're on the latest version. Oh, that's good, I like it. Just about, IT systems, it's not just about the, back-end servers and all that you're using, but even as a user, the content that I use, like for example, the document that I use, I want the latest version. I don't want to be searching for version 1.1.x or 1.final dot something. You actually have a list of all the documents that you have. You have the latest version. You know which date it was edited, by whom, at what time. So you can see the last modified there. So who was the person who made the last change and what time was it modified. So you always have the latest version with you. Okay, so I'm, again, this is another example. So when you want to, update, let's say a new application or a new software in the legacy world, you actually, as an IT guy, you actually went to each desktop, each individual user and say, let me install something for you on your machine. Let me install a software, let me install a plugin, whatever. Here, there's nothing to install. As an administrator, you can keep on rolling out applications and software to your users. As and when you need, just keep pushing it out on the browser. There's nothing you need to do. You don't need to go and physically sit on somebody's computer and really install any software. Now, we also understand that this pace of rapid releases that we have and regularly may not necessarily suit every organization. Some people want to have a more scheduled release. So we actually publish every single features that we are going to release are actually published on what we call a release calendar that you can see here. And we have both a rapid release track and a scheduled release track. So you can really adopt the way you want the new features to come into your organization. And all these services that I spoke of, about 60 applications, as an administrator, you can actually turn on and off any service that you want to. So you want to turn on instant messaging for the whole domain or for a part of the domain or certain users, you can go and do that, right? So it's as easy as swiping the on and off button there. And not to mention the fact that this is Google. The SLAs are tremendous. We have 99.9% availability. If you actually look at the study done by Gartner last year, which spoke about the uptime by all cloud service providers, it was Google that actually provided 99.984% uptime, which is probably the best in the world. And the other thing that plagues all of us is all about security. We all worry that here's my data on various devices and various places and stuff like that. So we just want to let you know that all these wonderful applications that we are talking about, we have built-in layers of security. One example of that is what we call the second factor of authentication. So typically when you log into your Google Apps, and I actually would encourage all of you to do this even in your personal Gmail account. So go into settings and enable something called OTP, two-factor authentication. It's a click of a button. It's as simple as that. And basically what this will do is you not only enter a password, but you also get a second factor, a one-time password, something like you use when you do your internet banking. So either you get a password on your SMS or you get it or on your mobile phone if you have an authenticator. You can go into Marketplace and you can download the Google Authenticator. So with that, I'll just hand it over to some of our partners, Consularis, who will actually take you through a live demo of the product. Dinesh, you want to take over?
Yeah, all right. So hi, I'm Dinesh. I'm from Consularis. We are actually a Google Enterprise partner. Thank you very much for taking your time off today, and thanks Shabana for having me here. I just wanted to ask, how many of you actually take your laptops home, from office to home? Many of you? Is there a particular reason you actually take your laptop home? Versus, for example, you're going to your hometown, do you take your TV to your hometown? Yeah, see, you don't take your TV to your hometown, right? You can see the same channel there. But when it comes to computer, we want the same interface. What we want actually is the same data. So we work on our office laptop, but we want the same laptop home, and so all of us carry our laptops home. But today I'm going to show you some of the things, what you can actually do from anywhere, any device. So I'll quickly jump onto Google Drive. This is part of the Google Apps. So this is how my desktop on the cloud looks like. You can have all your documents, you can create anything. I'll quickly create a Google document or a spreadsheet. Most of you use spreadsheets, or most of you use documents, or both? Both. So let's try a spreadsheet. All right. So just imagine I'm a sales manager sitting in Mumbai. I have, say, 20 regional offices, right? I can send to some of my colleagues sitting here. I can allow them to edit or only view, or I can send it to an entire group if I want. I can also send it to Shabana sitting here. I can send to people outside my domain as well if my administrator allows. One of my colleagues is actually sitting on a mobile phone. He can actually report from a mobile phone as well. So, because I am the owner of this document, I can have some additional security. I will not allow them to forward to somebody else without my permission. So actually I am not giving away the document. An actual link goes to them, but the actual document doesn't go. So let's see once they log in. There's some of the people sitting here right in front of you. Some people are on Mac, some people are on Windows, some people are on a Linux platform. One of them is on an iPhone, another is on an Android phone. You can actually work from any device on the same document. See, I can already see some of the guys logged in here. So I can see Arun in pink color, he's actually typing here, and Vamsi in the orange color here. I can also chat with them at the same time. All of us, all 6 of us right now are on the same document. Ideally, earlier, we used to send this as 6 attachments to 6 different people. All of them reply back. I'll get 6 attachments. I'll have to open each one. Just imagine it's a big spreadsheet. If it's a budgeting document or a financial analyst document, it'll take hell of a time for the manager to sit and compile. So I can see here all the data already filled in. See, if I don't want them to touch these things, for example, there's a row I don't want to touch them, I can just go into named and protected ranges, and I can protect some of the cells. So I'll ensure that they will not touch the columns which I added. So those kind of security controls are there at the cell level itself. Or also I can protect some sheets. One sheet can be for Delhi, another sheet can be for Mumbai. So only authorized persons will edit certain sheets actually.
Can we protect the sheet wherein someone can't even see it?
No.
Is there any forecast on that?
See, then you have to send another document to it.
Because that's the need of.
If you don't want each sheet to be seen by somebody, you just share the sheet.
Well, if there are 3 sheets in a single doc and I need to share only 2 of them with certain people and one with.
Tabs on the sheet.
Yeah.
That's not possible. If you share the access, you can give view only rights. So no editing rights. But if you share the sheet, then yes, all the tabs will be seen. It's not edited.
And so once the work is over, I can just remove everybody, and the document vanishes from their desktop actually. So now, for example, I do not like something what they have done. I can go back to the revision history, and I will know precisely what they have done. Say, for example, at 12:58, Arun has actually entered this. I would also know who entered what. If I don't like what he has done, I can roll back to my original version actually. I can just restore this, and that will be the actual document from now. So ideally this would have been so many attachments, it will become a huge confusion otherwise.
Can we merge different revisions together? Say, I don't want to roll back to a completely old version, but.
Say one version was another version?
Yeah.
You can actually save as that into another one and then merge it. See, you are the owner, you need to decide what you want to do actually. Right? If it's a popular request, Google does ensure that it will release in the near future actually. The request has to be popular, but alright. So similarly, I can actually create Word documents here. For example, in fact, this very agenda, I actually done this in the last night and shared with my colleague at 12 o'clock last night. We just did it in 5 minutes actually. Similarly, if you want to make an you can just you can actually similarly share with anybody you want. For example, if I am sharing with my colleagues here again, one of them I can actually give them only a comment access. There's something new called only comment. So they will not be able to edit my document, but they can still comment on it. This will be very useful if you're doing any agreement, if you want to share some things and you want inputs from different people, could be anything. So I can see quickly that they've already opened the document. Yeah, there are 2 people already here. So Shabana is typing, I can actually see her cursor moving. This was never possible earlier, like you send an attachment, they will type, they will send it back again to you. Now one more interesting thing in this kind of spreadsheet sharing, for example, you have a list of people reporting to you every day evening, could be accounts guys, could be sales guys, marketing guys. You just make one template and you can tell them no need to report. You keep working on your document, I can see that anytime live. It's actually cutting down reporting time. And if anybody is absent, you can tell them no problem, you don't need to come to office, you can work from home. So there will be no excuse for anybody to say, okay, I'm not feeling well, I'm on a holiday, maybe you have to work a little more, but convenience. Okay, so there are many other things you can do in this, and you can actually create presentations, you can create forms and lots of things. I'm going to quickly jump to making intranet portals. How many of you are aware of, yeah, you have something? Just click this upload, and from your desktop you can upload into this. Yeah, there will be little bit fidelity issues. Depends on the kind of complexity in that. See, idea is not to, see, we are not trying to compare whatever Microsoft Excel has versus this, but I'm trying to show you how you can actually work together.
No, I wasn't talking about comparisons. It's that there are certain things that you need to do on your own, and then you can share it and then maybe edit it. But if there's sort of data loss when it gets converted from XLS to this format, then it could pose a problem. That's just a suggestion of mine. If it's
See, then create a document in this itself. Similar document, just like how we created the spreadsheet here, you can actually create in this, share it and finish it. Why do you want to upload an old one? In case you have a legacy document, you can still upload it, convert it into a Google Doc format and still share it.
So like this thing has a lot of functionality that Excel
Oh yes,
has.
see, if you see this, there are lots of features here. Most of the things are there. You can actually have pivot tables, protected ranges. There's lots of features in this. You can actually customize you can actually use some JavaScript codes, and you can also customize stuff in this.
Thank you.
Right? So I'm going to quickly jump to making intranet portals. You can actually make training sites. You can make administrative, intranet portals or HR portals. So this portal is like voice of your manager. If you have different departments like administration department, HR, training, sales, and each of your manager can have his or her own site. That will be like their voice. So he is actually trying to centralize a lot of documents into that for easy collaboration. Example, I can create an administrative site in just 5 minutes using some templates. I can go to the gallery here. I can just choose from the list of templates available. You can select any theme if you want. I can just say OK actually. Just say create. It'll create a ready-made intranet portal for you. So you can actually use this, and you can actually embed a calendar if you want to embed your holiday calendar or your project or training calendar. And if you edit the calendar, this gets updated. I'm going to show you how. Similarly, you might have your announcements. For example, if I want to embed a document in this, I'm just go into documents, go into edit. So I'm going to insert the same document what you have made. This could be a spreadsheet. I can insert lots of things in this. Probably a drawing or a document or a presentation or a spreadsheet. Let's insert the same thing what you have made actually. Right? So this is the same document, spreadsheet I embedded in this. I'm going to give this share again back to Vamsi. Let's see how it works. See, the moment, I will share this document with somebody else. They will do the editing and my site gets updated. See, you are actually not going into your site to update any data. It could be a price list, it could be some of the your product catalog or any other agenda you are trying to embed. So I can see they have done some changes in this document, but it gets reflected here as well. All I need to do is just refresh, or any user logging in the next day morning, they'll see the updates in this. Already see some data, they've done some changes here. So without actually going into your Google site, you're actually just editing your documents or spreadsheets, and this gets auto updated. Similarly, you can actually have training sites. You can actually have training portals. For example, any induction is happening in your company, people can enroll in these kind of things. All these are made using simple tools without having any HTML knowledge, no designing knowledge, no programming knowledge. But if you are a developer, you can actually customize furthermore. So these are all built using templates, or you can actually design on your own. Hardly take around 2 to 3 hours to make a full-fledged intranet portal. So there's something also called Google Drive offline. All these documents, you can also actually sync it to your computers with your iPad or with your phone. If you actually click this, download Google Drive, you'll actually create an app on your computer here, and all your documents are actually auto-synced in this. So should in case there's no internet, you can still work offline. The same documents, you can sync it with your iPads or your home computers. So whatever you do in office, it's also there in your home computer, without actually carrying any data or transporting, or no FTP, nothing. So quickly I'm going to hand over to my colleague Vamsi, who will going to show you Google Plus Hangouts and how you can actually collaborate the same documents using a video. Right? Thank you.
The final topic in this session is about really being social, and for Google, social is all about Google Plus. So we'll actually take a short demo on Google Hangouts. Earlier, when Shabana had asked the question, I saw most of you actually used Hangouts. So, but then we'll still see the demo. And the important point would like to highlight here is collaboration within that actually, right? So I'll just start. This is my Google Plus profile login. I'm going to initiate a Hangout now. All right, I'll start a Hangout. So I'll basically just name this Hangout here. And I'll share it with some of my colleagues. Right? So basically, Google Plus Hangout is actually the ultimate expression for collaboration. So you could see that while they actually would join this invite, I also have an ability to basically share my screen with them. I can actually share Google Documents, or we can see one of my colleagues joining in, right? So while they're joining in, let me just go ahead and add a document. So I'll pick the document that Dinesh just shared with us. I'll select it. It's the same document that you could see I've opened, and then I can actually, again, collaborate with them. Right? So this was basically a very short demo of what Google Hangout is about, actually. Right? So the final closing statement again would be, Google Hangout is actually the ultimate expression for collaboration. Thank you.
Us had expressed interest in second factor of authentication. I just want to take a minute to show you. So I'm just trying to access my Google Mail. As you can see, this is not my laptop. This is actually Vamsi's laptop. Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is access my mail from anywhere, any device. And I've got a second factor of authentication, which really helps me authenticate my usage, right? So I've got a one is my password, which I just put in, and the other is I'm using an app on my Android phone called Google Authenticator, and I'm going to just use a random PIN which is actually generated, and I'm going to access my mail from there. Just trying to show you the power of collaboration, the fact that I don't have anything with me. I don't have my presentation, nothing, and I'm going to try and access it from here. Oops. So once you want to come and just help me expand the screen, I don't know how your question, which I was making to you earlier. All on the cloud. There's nothing installed anywhere. There's no machine. There's nothing, there's no pen drive. There's, I could access this from anywhere, on my laptop, on my mobile phone, anywhere. So just continuing from where we left off. So we just went through a product presentation. Any questions that anybody has on this point regarding it? Yeah, please shoot.
Of personal address books across users for the entire domain. So I think it's possible through APIs, and there are some external apps, third-party apps which do that. But I believe it should be a part of Google Apps itself.
Need to wrap up. I just want to keep you with one closing slide, which is pretty much my favorite. So Google Apps, everything that you actually saw, you saw email, you saw, docs, you saw Hangouts, and you saw sites, and you saw online collaboration, any device, all of these guys, for what you pay for a cup of tea and coffee every day. How does that sound to you? Sounds good? Yeah? So I want to wrap up my presentation here. Thank you very much for coming. And if you have any questions, I'm around here in the audience along with you. So let me know if you have any questions. I also want to quickly introduce you to a couple of more people. Harshal, sitting right at the end here. Harshal is a part of the Google Enterprise team in India. So if you have any questions for either of us, please feel free to reach out to us. I also want to introduce you to, and a big thank you to Dinesh and Vamsi of Consularis, who are actually our premier partners, and my friends from Sears Consulting. Are you guys around? Yeah, so Amol, Shubangi, you guys are there. They're partners as well. So please let us know if we can be of any help to you. Thank you so much, guys.